even more arbitrary binaries to think about art through. Stream of consciousness versus thesis. When I'm writing a song, I'm going to talk about songs in my example, but this could really work for any kind of art. You could apply this to painting as well. When I'm writing a song, I tend to have a thesis or a message that I'm trying to communicate, or an idea I'm trying to explore, something along those lines. And when I do that, I come in with the big picture. I want to communicate this idea, and then all of the verses, all of the words in the chorus, all of the parts of that piece are little tiny pieces that reinforce a thesis or communicate a thesis. So that's one way to do it. Thesis-based art. The way that you might make, say, a painting using that sort of approach would be to be like, okay, I want to make a painting about a tiger breathing fire, and the tiger's going to represent this, and the fire's going to represent that. And you start with the big picture first, and then the thing that you create is just a representation of that big picture. So for me, if I have a thesis and I want to write 20 paragraphs about that thesis and then pare it down to 3 or 4 paragraphs, that might be one way to write that song. The other way you could do it is stream of consciousness. Now, I don't know why. I just don't write songs like this, but I know people who do, and it's almost like a more artistic way of doing it. I wouldn't go that far, but it's more lateral move to lateral move. It's topic to topic. You're not necessarily trying to communicate one thing. Like when I'm writing something, I don't know why I do this, but it tends to just be here's a point, I'm hammering it home, bang, bang, bang. Here's the point over and over again in different ways, explored in different perspectives, etc., etc. Stream of consciousness is just you sit down, you start writing, and it flows from idea to idea. It flows from point to point. It doesn't necessarily return back to the thesis. It doesn't necessarily return back to the point. My aversion to this style is that it seems less purposeful. But I understand that's completely personal preference. And you might think to yourself, what sort of style you might prefer doing. Now, the equivalent for that, painting-wise, is you don't necessarily go into it with a specific concrete idea, the specific vision of what you have in mind. You're more open to the thing that you're painting, the end result, being able to be changed as you work through it. And to an extent, a lot of art is like that. Even if you go into it with a thesis, by the time that you're done making the art, you might find that the thesis is slightly different. The difference with stream of consciousness art is you're going into it with the intent of allowing the process to change the thing that you're making. So sometimes I think about giving examples in this series, and then I think, nah,